What's over there?
Yeah, actually,
What's
wait a
down
minute.
there?
You'd think that they'd use.
I didn't touch you.
Go on.
That wasn't you, Joker. That was gun
Oh.
forward charging me off the ledge.
Actually, try something. Give me a moment.
It'd be a small one, but like they could actually put a forge here.
That's probably what she thought she was doing, or trying to do. In some way, capacity.
I just wanted a cool cutscene where it's like Zavala's pinned down and shit. He's like, "Well, I'm out of ammo," or like, "I need more weapons." And then he turns to Ada and goes, and she shits out a fucking weapon. And she goes, "Here you go." And he just snipes
Just like
people or something.
her hands are
Check.
like Naruto. Just speed.
Yeah,
She puts together a weapon.
that's what she does.
Well,
Oh, man, where's the forge? Or where's the forge? Where's the lower piece for it? The black armory.
while you search that up for a second, though, I do think Ada will come back at some point because what seems to be happening, or at least before, I don't know if they're still going to be doing it, was they were tying up loose ends with the past few seasons. Like, Season of Worthy and Dawn were tying up Curse of Osiris and Warmind because they had kind of were forced to leave those threads open and they didn't get to tell the story they wanted. And I imagine that we'll see them come back to Black Armory, probably sometime during year 4, and I hope that's the case.
I'm just kind of glad that they don't have a money-hungry, like, company just breathing down their necks so they can do what they want to do as much as they want.
Yeah.
Within reason, obviously, but still.
Which people complain about the Eververse, but that's like their only source of income,
Their
really.
source of income right next to buying, like, season passes.
Yeah.
It's like, you don't need to do Eververse either. Like, you can earn everything through just brick dust eventually.
And also, they got rid of, like, one of the big sellers was the armor as well, because
Yeah, they just
it
turned
was kind of a pain in the ass to try and get that, and the community wasn't happy, and they're like, okay, we'll just stop doing that.
Right. Who thinks I
Which
can
is
make it
good
to
on
that
them.
little pipe?
What little pipe? What? Oh, you're trying to go out there? You're gonna hit a turn back.
Oh,
Never
said
mind.
invisible
You're
wall.
make it.
no, I hit
So-
an invisible wall.
It's vague.
Just
Um,
breathe, Ada.
We had some downtime. Yuki wanted to test the Exo's new functionality. The entire purpose of the Exo in the first place, Project Niobe, Helga's greatest experiment to make our weapons more deadly through a sort of on-the-spot phase transition of the guns. In other words, a walking, talking forge. Seeing the Exo discover her ability was well thrilling. It was nice to see something other than dread for a few minutes. We were sloppy. While the Exo practiced using her ability, we were ambushed by I don't even know what they were. They were definitely not regular humans. They had abilities that the rest of us don't. We took one down, we thought, but then his little red drone lit up and he was on his feet again. We kept firing. They didn't
You don't
expect to
come
run
to the
into an
Black
armory on
looking for
foot, so
just
they
any
ran.
weapon. You're looking to fulfill your wishes.
That's terrifying and amazing.
Yeah, like, literally it was humans and Ada 1, and Ada 1 was able to craft enough guns that they were able to fight Guardians, and the Guardians ran away.
They're like a raid boss. No.
Yeah.
Granted,
Which
they're
would
little
also
baby
explain-
Guardians, right? But, like, she's not a
That-
joke.
Yeah. That'd also explain her resentment or distrust of Guardians, too, because...
Oh, that's
probably
not
her
why she
first
distrusts
impression.
them.
Well, I know, but I'm saying...
I have kept an
That would
eye
be,
on
like,
Van
the Black
Halen
Armory has never had-
Guardian. I am
Yeah.
unimpressed.
I can't help but say that I'm so glad that the courtyard, like, fast travels back to normal. So I don't accidentally hit EAZ. Off topic, but still, I like it.
Oh, and then there's another thing that happens. Like, one of the men who attacked us returned This time with an offer. He wanted the EXO he had seen back at the truck.
Legacy's battery died.
How she
He can't hear you.
What a bitch!
He just messaged me. Ah! Stop it, Nose. You suck. Oh my god. My nose today has been really annoying. Like, I got kind of bloody nose this morning. I just itched it. It was like, great. Oh, thank you. Thank you, dry weather. There he is.
Hey, so what I was saying was, there's another lore piece that says, one of the men who attacked us returned, this time with an offer. He wanted the EXO. He had seen what she was capable of back at the truck, how she turned our weapons into something even more deadly with nothing but her hands. And it says the EXO was willing to sacrifice herself, but people lied and exploded and killed him.
Wow, no wonder she feels betrayed by the Guardians. Who's the one that made the offer?
Well, no, it was one of, like, the friends. One of her friends.
Oh.
Yuki. Yuki's like, oh, I have the accelerator you're looking for. It's in my backpack. And the Guardian approached. She just, like, lit off a bunch of grenades and killed herself. The
Do
Guardian.
not touch our
But obviously the
wares,
Guardian was
Guardian.
gonna ex-wife.
Only there for the
Jeez.
pleasure of the hour.
Come on, no hands!
But the whole Black Armory lore book is written from the point of view of one of the founders of Niobe Labs, but more specifically, 801's an EXO. EXOs have a consciousness put in them. The consciousness of 801 is the narrator's daughter.
Which I think is explained best by Light Monarch's lore, if I remember correctly. Because it talks about how they are kind of like, they reach out but like feel the cold metal of Ada, and they're kind of freaked out.
Yeah. There's an entry that says, nostalgia came over to me today. We came upon an amusement park. And like, I talk. I show her where I like to eat, where I rest my weary feet, all that kind of shit. And she says, I started to tell her stories about when I was here with my family, but a scratch in my throat made me stop. I suppose these wounds are still bleeding.
This would have been a perfect place for a lore piece.
Trying to find, here it is.
I am unimpressed.
The final entry in the book is Dear Adelaide? Adelaide? I don't know. I guess what Ada is short for. It's talking about the Guardians. When the Guardians found me, basically what happened is she it's like, I don't want them to get her. I'm gonna remove the Obsidian Accelerator and they can take it from me. And she tells 801 to get the fuck out of there. She tells her to leave. And she says, when they found me, they demanded to know where you were. I offered the accelerator and I gave it freely. You promised me you would leave and you did. But you never said how far you would go, did you? You stayed close enough to watch through your scope. As the man took aim at my head, I heard the shot and assumed I was dead. But it was him who was dead and not me. And you were so far that none of us knew where to look. The second man winged me with one of our weapons. He began to gloat. But another run from you shut him up. 2 more thunderous shots and their drones were dead as they were. I saw the glare from your scope disappear. I knew you were heading away. I knew you must feel guilty, but don't. It was I who wronged you. Da 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 da. Does the name Adelaide bring you any flicker of recognition? It is your birth name, and you heard it every day of your life until the day I sent you without your consent into a new world. You became Ada 1 when I robbed you of your end. I've loved you since before you were born, and in trying to give you everything, perhaps I've robbed you of a final human experience, a dignified death. I know I will not see you again. If you want to know more about your past, know that you were born a second time in the Niobe labs. When you were wounded at the labs and I saw you were losing your fight, I did what I always did. When the chips were down, I created something. You Ada 1, from what I had almost completely lost. I did it out of fear of losing you forever. I charted the course of your life and made decisions that were yours to make, not mine. I hope you find it in your heart to forgive me. And the lake goes on and on.
Jeez.
It's
Sad.
the ending is essentially, it says, learn from our successors and our missteps, be bold, do not fear the future, respect the past, never forget where you came from, and never try to fear death if you can help it. I know I don't anymore. You know what's funny? I never considered how lucky I was for the first time we had together. The envy of all the mothers who ever lived. I got to love you twice. Your mother, Henriette. Fuck you, I got choked up, right? That's... it's sad.
That's a very sad
No,
story.
it's definitely sad.
So, you want to know why she hates Guardians? It's not because they sought her out, it's not because they killed Yuki or whatever, or Yuki killed herself. It's because she lost her fucking mom.
Jeez.
Oh.
Yeah.
Anyways, what are we doing? People going to bed.
I don't know.
Oh man, I don't know why.
Not for a bit.
And also,
It was weird, it's so sad.
it was.
It was a
But one
goodbye,
thing-
Will.
Yeah.
Read the whole thing.
One thing though with that story is also we get to learn a bit
How
about
well
the
do you
darkness
know our
too,
mutual friend?
potentially what they fought
Not
with,
well enough, I'm sure.
because it describes sound and smell, not sight, but we hear like about like an unnatural metallic groaning and like an earthly wet smell, I believe. So even though Ada isn't a guardian, she was nearly consumed by the darkness.
Do not touch our wares, Guardian.
I don't.
They are
Sure,
only
whatever.
there for the pleasure of
That was a
the
bad
eye.
joke.
God, it's terrifying, man.
What? I'm
I am
terrifying?
Devil. With the helmet.
Hello. I
Helmet.
want a cracker.
The Black Armory believes not in the traveler.
Fucking Christ, it
or
looks
its
like,
shambling
from the right
fate,
angle, it looks like you
but
got
in
wings on your back,
humanity
rather than that glowing on your arms.
Because I'm so cool, that's why. Some
Like, the
horns on.
glow is unnaturally bright compared to everything else.
Well, they fixed the gloves for the elemental
Admire
glow
with your
stuff.
eyes.
I know, but it's like, compare the arms to the chest piece.
Oh, yeah. Compare the arms to the arms. Why are her wrists so black?
Yeah.
Why are her knees garbage? Why
My
is the
shoulders
cloak a
shall glow.
crayon? Like, I don't get why the shoulders were the most prominent fucking piece.
Like, make the horns brighter or something. I can get the horns.
The horns are all right.
Yeah, the
Perfect.
horns are
love
fine.
horns. Like, they're perfect.
Yeah.
Just the arms are so intense. It's like, make it the chest piece and the kneecaps. Like, come on.
The spider.
Like, distribute
How
it
well do you
correctly.
know our mutual
Spread
friend?
the love.
Well enough, I'm sure.
on one second. My dog's barking. I'm good for whatever, though, by the way.
Do not touch our wares,
I
Guardian.
was confused. I was like, look at
They
these
are only
guns!
there
Wow,
for the
look at them.
pleasure
They're so
of the
cool.
eye.
Wow.
You know, I have a question. Because Ada just mentioned Spider. How much have they worked together?
I don't fucking
Hunter.
know.
That's something I don't think we've talked about in the lore
No,
in the
because they
game
don't-
very much at all.
Yeah, it's not ever mentioned, really.
It's like, oh, Spider has
I
a
have
key card.
kept an
Why the
eye
fuck
on
does he
your
have the key?
vanguard from afar, Guardian. I am unimpressed.
I don't know. Probably because he has a black market and she's the black armor. Get it? Maybe it's because they both hate Guardians, essentially. I mean, sorry, I didn't hate them, but he didn't like
He
them.
puts them in debt.
He takes their ghosts. Let's be honest. He hates them more than he likes them.
Yeah.
He traps them and plays with them or eats them or whatever. Like, he's kind of not our friend.
Yeah,
Follow with
he's
your
not.
eyes.
No,
With your hands.
Spider.
Yeah. Well, yes, to Callus, but we were talking about Spider.
No, I'm not. Callus is our friend.
Our
Trust
friends.
us.
I don't know about our like other guardians. He likes his shadow.
We're fine. Listen. Obviously, the player, of which there's 167 million, thank you, Bungie, for that stat today.
Huh?
He's friends with all of them. He might not be super cool with Zavala or Aonor. He's not a fan of Drifter,
The Traveler made humanity weak.
but just because
Lured
there's a
them
few
into
bad
a
apples
false
doesn't mean you
sense of
judge the whole
security.
Guardian race, man. Callus likes us.
Wow, that sounds like another policeman. Wait. It is.
I don't know what you're talking about. It's almost like
Alice lives matter.
just like math, politics is everywhere.
The Black Armory believes
wonder
not in the
if
Traveler.
Spider's gonna
or
have
its
any big role to
shambling
play
dead,
when
but in
Mithrax
humanity
comes.
itself.
I doubt it.
I
He
have
cares
a
about
voice
his single
line, but who
short,
cares?
that's it.
Yeah, that's true. But also at the
Spider's a
same
mob
time,
boss, that's his territory. He's not gonna expand. If he does, he'll just take more of the reef. He's not gonna go to a planet or anything.
well, I'm not saying that there's gonna be like Mithrax and Spider are gonna have a fight, but it would be interesting to see the two kind of talk trash about one another.
That's also assuming Mithrax can speak English.
Again, because they're like the lore on Motor Wolves, Queenbreaker, and I think one or two other weapons are all him in the Warlock and the Hunter.
I know there's, but like
I
it's
have
very.
kept an eye
He
on
knows
the
few
vanguard
words. Is what I'm
far
saying.
gone.
Not like Spider. Spider can hold a
I am
conversation.
unimpressed.
That's true. It's not perfect. It's not perfect English.
Also, Mithrax is like your typical immigrant. Mithrax isn't his actual name.
It's true, but it's the name that we have been given to say.
Where's Am I dumb?
I say
Hmm.
yes. You get mad at me?
No.
Every piece in our
If I
collection
say
tells
yes,
a
you get mad at me.
story,
Yes.
whether it be through its elegant
I
design,
fucking knew it.
its unique
God has the
name,
privilege to
Joker?
call
or
me
the
out.
history of its creation.
And I take it full stride. There's the... Oh, there it is. I found it. I forgot it was a heavy weapon. I was wondering where
Like hell.
Queensbreaker was.
Yeah, it's like so linear fusion.
Yeah.
But to be fair, linear fusions outside of like Sleeper Simulant
The
really
Black Armory
don't belong
believes not in the
in heavy
Traveler or
weapons,
its
in my
shambling
opinion.
dead, but in humanity itself.
Alright. Oh, let's see. All we have is Gambit left for the Weekly Clan.
What you have left? Oh, clan engrams. I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just, one of the clan bounties is defeat guardians with clanmates and Gambit. So At some point, we'll load up some Prime. I'll put on my Invader set and I'll go book up some bitches.
You do that. I think I need... Yeah, I need to do Hush anyway, so I need to get bow kills. Which I got all the final blows due to Trinity. But I need the precision kills with my arsenic.
I remember when I did that, I did it with Trinity, but it was before the Catalyst, so I still had to get headshots to proc the arc thing.
Oh wow.
I was going for headshots the whole time, and it would just chain and get the... Because it's like 500 headshot kills, but 1,000 bow kills.
Yeah.
So I was like, if I get a
You'd
headshot,
get that at
and
the
for each
same
headshot,
time.
it chains and kills somebody. Yeah, it was exactly it. Like, I'll just get it at the same time. And I basically did, so I was like, oh,
Admire
cool.
with your eyes.
I got pretty close.
I think I
only
ended
have
up using
190
the
left.
Monarch.
Or, yeah, 190. Which isn't much.
I'm surprised you didn't use Leviathan's breath. But
Well, it didn't exist back then.
I need to remember to save out some money to pre-order Beyond Light, because I haven't done that yet.
Yeah, I've been meaning to do that.
It's like there's no point now, because I don't really care for the emo yet. Like, of course I'm going to pre-order it before it comes out, but like...
Its unique makeup. Or
do you
the
remember when
history of its
Oathkeeper
craft.
used to help you draw your bows faster?
Oathkeeper? Yeah. It was faster draw
That
time
was
and
a thing
infinite.
before my time, I think.
Yeah, that was when it came out, and they nerfed it in the same season. And Forsaken.
Oh, that's so
Lame,
tasty.
why would they do that?
I'll buy it just because I want it.
Because it came out with bows, and they're like, oh, this will, like, increase or speed up your draw speed for bows. Which wasn't crazy, because
The traveler made
bows had just been
humanity
introduced. There were only,
lured them into a false
I think,
sense of
4
security.
legendary bows. You had No Turning Back the Kinetic. You had Settled Calamity, which was Void, Arctic Bite, which was Arc, and then Tyranny of Heaven was the Last Wish drop, and then you had Wish Ender.
Dude, why does Intrepid Discovery Vest look like me when I'm
What?
going to work?
So it is you when you go to work?
Pretty much. I have the over-the-shoulder bag, too.
The reason it upsets me now that Oathkeeper doesn't like speed up your draw time is because now we have heavy bows, like Leviathan's Breath.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I wish I could just draw it a little fucking faster than like a second and a half or whatever.
The Black
Be nice,
Armory
yeah.
believes not in the traveler or
You know.
its shambling dead.
Leviathan's
but in
breath
humanity
makes
itself.
an like sleeper simulant without the catalyst feel fast, and that's saying something.
Yeah, that's because Sleeper Simulant is fast without the catalyst in comparison. By a third of a second.
Yeah. Not to
Sleeper
mention you
Simulant
don't
takes-
have to reload.
Yeah, Sleeper Simulant takes about a second, and Leviathan's Breath takes 1.3
Every
seconds.
piece in our collection tells a story, whether it be through its
Yeah, like,
elegant
literally
design,
takes a
third of a
its
second
unique
faster.
makeup, or the history of
Somebody
its
was saying to me, I don't mean you, like, see, you or someone else, talking about how, they're talking about Triumph. Oh god, what the fuck did I just do? Okay. Talking about the new Triumph page, they were looking at the picture and they went, did you see that,
The Black Armory predates this
Something
city,
was
I'll have
like-
you know.
oh, there's proof of, Leviathan's Breath getting a catalyst?
I don't know anything about that. That'll be interesting to see. Can you even still get the Leviathan's breath mission? I mean, no.
Sure, you can still get it right now. Really?
Oh,
Oh.
I see. On the exotic catalyst banner, like the thing you would click on, if you look at last week's TWAB, it shows a lot of weapons, and I can see like Skyrider's Oath. I can see
The
probably what looks like
traveler made
Divinity,
humanity,
a lot like an
lured
Izanagi,
them into a false
and I can
sense of
see the
security.
back end of a Deathbringer. So that's because I remember someone saying a Deathbringer's gonna get one, a Leviathan's Breath's gonna get one. I think Leviathan's Breath is the top under the OTIC of exotic. You can see like the arrow and a bit of the hilt poking in. So people are saying, oh, like those two are gonna get their exotic catalysts. Should be cool.
I could make this. I don't care if it's difficult. I
What's
was at the
difficult?
birthday thing for Destiny, and they have a cake on here, and I could totally do
Admire
it.
with your eyes, not with your hands.
I'd probably
Also-
prefer. Yoshino. Continue. Sorry.
No, you're fine. Someone was asking me like, "Oh, did you want to like, did you want to speculate on what those new Triumph icons mean?" Because if you look at that Triumph picture from the TWAB, it's just a bunch of new icons essentially, except for 3 of them, which make the rest of it pretty easy in my head. Because they have the moon symbol, the Luna symbol, they have the Dreaming City symbol, and then they have the spider logo.
Armory
Those are obviously
Mhm.
the 3 locations: the moon, the Dreaming City, and the Potato Shore. Which means that there's going to be one for the EDZ, there's one for the Cosmodrome, there's going to be one for Europa, probably one for the season or the seasons, or like the expansion, and then one for the raid or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm appreciating the Triumph page thing. That kind of looks pretty dope.
You know what they're doing? You look at the picture?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm looking at it.
Yeah.
It's so
Now-
cool.
Here's the question. What the fuck's going on with Nessus? Because
Every piece
in
in our
theory,
collection tells
I
a
think
story.
that's the furthest
Whether it
out
be
planet
through its
that we
elegant design,
currently visit.
Its unique makeup,
I could be wrong about that.
or the
About that.
history of its
Um,
crafter.
So you'd think the pyramids would have shown up there first, and how come that's not leaving the game? What's on Nessus that is important?
Well, Nessus is staying because people play it more than anything else. Like, people don't play Titan or Mercury as much as people play Nessus. I assume it's partly because it's one of the biggest patrol zones, aside from the EDZ.
Very consistent
Um,
public events.
It's got 3 fucking strikes. You know, it had Werner. So, like, people were going to Nessus not only just like, well, I love Nessus. There were strikes, a lot of public events to pick from. They would go there because of menagerie stuff. People love Failsafe. I'm sure they were going there for Failsafe and stuff. But Nessus got, I guess, enough traffic that like we can keep Nessus.
It's interesting because I also didn't think they'd be taking that
I have
into
kept an
account,
eye on
especially
your
because they're
vanguard
adding
from
Cosmodrome,
afar,
which I
Guardian.
imagine will be a fairly
I
big
am
patrol
unimpressed.
area for that kind of stuff.
Let me see real quick.
Are there any titles or seals that I can get before they'll go away? The lore I know I
Go
probably
back.
can't. Black
Alright.
Armory. No.
Do
Not
not
happening.
touch our wares, Guardian.
See,
They are only there.
I saw
to
Black
pleasure your
Armory's
eye.
like title, and I was like, why would I want to work for the title of blacksmith?
Where's the blacksmith? Where is he?
Okay. Here we go. So this is them when they first talk about the content vault and all that stuff. Destiny 2 is ballooned to an unpredictable scale.
Every
As of
piece
writing
in
this,
our
Destiny
collection
2
tells
features
a
9
story.
destinations,
Whether
40
it
story
be through
missions,
its elegant
54
design,
adventures, 42
its
lost
unique
sectors,
makeup,
17
or the
strikes,
history
31
of
PvP
its
maps,
crafter.
12 one-off special activities like Menagerie or Zero Hour, 7 raids, 6 Gambit arenas, 3 dungeons, many quests, patrols, public events, and of course, thousands of associated rewards, all depth plus hundreds of game systems which layer on top of that content.
Jesus
This unrelenting
Christ.
growth has resulted in a game that requires players to download up to 115 gigabytes to play,
Lured them
as well as huge patches tied to frequent updates. And those numbers are rapidly rising. Rising 0.3% of all time played in the Season of the Worthy. And yet, the Warmind expansion accounts for 5% of the total install size.
Wow.
This dramatic imbalance between player engagement and overall cost to maintain is found in a lot of our legacy
I
content.
am unimpressed.
It's crazy.
So they took the things that were like, hey, this takes 5% of the space, 10% of the space, but only 1% of people play it, or, 0.3%, as this example is. And they're like, fuck, we're getting rid of Mars.
67 million. Times point, what? 0.03 or 0.3?
Sorry, say again?
What is the number that they're saying about
0.3% of all time played during the season
Do
of the
not
Worthy.
touch our wares,
So
Guardian.
that's
They are
two-
only there for the pleasure of the eye.
0.3. So that's 1, 2. So that's 2 zeros. Wait, no. Am I stupid? Yeah, because I have to move the decimal twice again, so it's still 2 zeros. That is 501,000 Guardians spent that time.
Every piece in our collection
Curse of
tells a
Osiris
story,
out of
whether it be through its
160
elegant
Not
design,
just Warmind.
million.
unique
Yeah.
makeup, or the
Curse of
history
Osiris.
of its craft.
Or mine, whatever. That's not a lot, but that's so many.
501,000 is a big number, but when you compare it to the 167 million,
Yeah,
it's
it's nothing.
that's half of a million, and there's over 100 million. There's almost
Well-
200 million.
Actually, Jerk, to
Crazy.
add something to like a variable to that as well. Not all those Guardians are active players, so that number of
Right.
active Guardians playing Warmind is probably a lot smaller.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It says it was 0.3% of all time played. Time played. It doesn't even mean like people engaging with the campaign. It's like time spent in the campaign
That too,
compared
yeah.
to
Which isn't much.
all the activities people spent time during for the whole season. 0.3% of it was for the Warmind campaign.
Okay, if we're honest though, also wouldn't that mean Shadowcube's on the chopping block?
I'm pretty sure people are engaging with Shadowkeep because it literally came out the season before Season of Worthy.
I know, but I'm saying like if we take in the amount of hours people are going to be playing that content and then not return to it, Shadowkeep's kind of small.
Guilty.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I'm sure next year
Checking.
when they're gonna do
Same thing
the
will
Witch
happen.
Queen, they're gonna relook and they go, all right, well the moon's not being played a whole lot anymore. No one's going to the Tangled Shore. We'll remove those two. We'll bring back,
Eververse
Mars and Io. That kind of shit. Or the new destination and Mars will come back. And then after a while they're like, alright, well no one's on Nessus, and people stopped going to Mars more than we thought. We'll get rid of those two. New destination, whatever. Like, get rid of Europa and Dreamy City. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we're gonna go back and forth as well as introducing new shit and getting rid of old shit.
It's just gonna be a cycle. They'll figure it out.
That's why they're saying a lot of content isn't relevant anymore and cannot remain relevant as we evolve the world. That's why they said the Warmind campaign during Season of the Worthy was almost not played. Because it's 2-year-old content at that point. And they're like, why do we have this still in the game? It takes up 5% of the game if no one's playing it.
Hi again, Guardian.
You know what 5% of 115 gigabytes is? It's over 5 gigabytes.
Yeah.
For a game this big, that actually is a pretty big chunk to get rid of. Shaving it down eventually.
Yeah.
I
How
wonder
low
much...
do you think they'll go from now to Beyond Light? It's about 108. I just looked. 108, and that includes all DLC, all bonus packages. From deleting 5 planets to
Well,
3
4 and
expansions?
a raid.
4 and a raid.
For 4 and 4 raids, I should say. 4 and a Leviathan, right? All of
Yeah.
4 and 4 raids.
Plus Menagerie
Couple
and...
expansions. A lot of other stuff.
those.
To just having 2 more planets, a reinstallment of Cosmodrome
That is
and
one of the 2 planets.
Europa. It is one of the 2 planets, technically, yeah.
I'm gonna guess anywhere from 75 to 90 gigabytes. I don't imagine the game's gonna get down to like 60 gigabytes or less from that.
I think, not including the new shit we're adding, we would drop to 60.
I could see that.
Because if we have
Not
9
including the new
destinations
stuff.
right now, we have 9 destinations, we're removing 4 of them, we're getting rid of 4 of the 7 raids, we're getting rid of Forges, you know, we're getting rid of Reckoning, we're smashing Gambit and Gambit Prime into single modes, that gets rid of one of those
The
modes.
traveler may
We're throwing out half the strikes, we're throwing out a couple Crucible maps, a couple Crucible game types. They're really cutting this game essentially in half. I can see it going from 108 to like 55 or 60 with the reduction, but then, like we were saying, they're gonna add Europa, they're gonna add the Cosmodrome, they're going to have a new raid, they're gonna introduce at some point in next year the Vault of Glass raid comes back, so it'll probably
wait.
bump up to, I'd say, maybe 80 or so, 80 gigs.
Yeah. Which is reasonable compared to 108. Now, what
75
you're
or
saying
80,
about
yeah.
what you're saying about like the planets disappearing. There are 9 locations, and out of 108 gigabytes, that means there's a give or take 12 gigabytes per planet, not including anything else like Crucible, Gambit, Vanguard, or anything. Just planet itself. We're getting rid of 4 of them. Like, that's a big chunk.
Yeah.
Definitely drop us pretty far.
Now, I'm wondering how much, like, weapons and armor take up in
Every piece in our
that
collection
data.
tells a story.
Like, how much
Whether it
space
be through
does,
its
like, all the
elegant
weapons from
design,
Leviathan
its
cost
unique
in
makeup,
gigabytes?
or the
Because that
history
information
of
won't be
its
deleted.
crafter.
I'm guessing it's not like
I'm
ton
not
of
gonna say a
data.
lot.
It's not going to be like 10 gigabytes. I don't think it's that much, like in total. I don't know.
If I had to guess, all the
cut in
weapons
half.
that will become unavailable, it's probably, I imagine, below 10 gigabytes, but I imagine it is at the very least over a few.
Yeah, over like 3. You know. Like,
Yeah, maybe
Do not
in that
5
range.
gigabytes.
theirs, Guardian.
Yeah.
They are only there for the pleasure of the eye.
I'm so excited. It's not like it's dry. The game isn't dry right now. It's getting there, but we're almost done, so it's not too
We're
bad.
in the stretch.
We're in the the last stretch of like
Yeah.
get as much as you can done, which keeps everybody busy because there's everybody, including Gun and J-Dog, still have things to do before the end of the season. And so like plenty of Guardians like me who skipped a couple seasons, like missed out on a lot of stuff, have crap ton of things that I can do before November 10th, which they extended from.
Oh,
So like
that's
it's
interesting.
not as
But the-
dry.
Don't even
I was
think
going through and I
about
was just
jumping
rereading
on
this,
display
and they had
cases.
updated it since they delayed the next season and all that shit. So they say, here's what's going to be returning from the content vault. It was like Cosmodrome, right? Vault of Glass, that kind of shit. But they say Cosmodrome as a selectable, explorable destination. Parentheses. But not yet at full Destiny 1 parity on November 10th. And then at the bottom it says, editor's note, Beyond Light release date, whatever. And it says during season 13. So we're in season 11 right now. Beyond Light season 12. So season 13 is what comes after that.
I have kept an eye
It says
on the
Cosmodrome will be
Vanguard from
fleshed
afar,
out to
Guardian.
roughly Destiny
I
1
am
Year 1 parity.
unimpressed.
And the Cosmodrome's Devil's Lair and Fallen Saber Strike will return.
Yes, I
So
love
originally,
Devil's
whatever
Lair.
we're going to get for Cosmodrome, for Beyond Light in November, we're going to get part of the Cosmodrome, and only the Will of Crota Strike from it. So, even that, it's like,
The Black Armory believes
now we're
not
not,
in
we're
the
getting half a
traveler
destination.
or
Like,
its
we're getting
shambling
Europa and half a
dead,
destination.
but in humanity itself.
So I really don't think it's going to be anywhere near 90. It's going to be 70, 80s.
Yeah. Also, not to mention, a good portion of the Cosmodrome is already in the game files.
Yeah, because it's tied to like
The new
Thunderlord,
light.
Runner now, New Light. Yeah.
Yeah. So a pretty big portion. Other than like, well, New Divide, that's one that isn't completely full. Skywatch isn't done. And then the Devil's Lair area, that'll load eventually. And so you still have the other half and the Forgotten Shore. Like,
Or the
that
history.
whole area won't be existent. Not to mention the caves underneath. What I'm... I was gonna say something. What was I looking at that made me think about it? Oh, I'm glad Showdown's staying. That's a fun one. What was I gonna say? No. I've lost it. Sorry.
The Traveler made humanity weak, lured them into a false sense of security.
No.
It's fucking 3 in the morning.
This is 1 a.m.
Yeah, it's 4 in the morning here.
Kinda want to go to sleep.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Gun, we keep doing this.
I know we do.
It was weird staying up this
Duress
late
and
now.
Egress. You need to read it, Legacy.
I know, I didn't wake up till noon. I didn't get on this game till like 6.
I
I
should be in the app.
want to talk to you about it. Joker,
I'll-
you can read it too.
I'm also gonna read it.
Yeah, I'll
Probably before bed.
read it probably tomorrow.
There's a couple things I find really interesting, and I want to know what you guys thought of certain things before I give my opinion, right? Because I want to see
Yeah.
different perspectives. We might read into different things more than someone else. So
Do not
here's my
touch our
something I didn't
words,
see.
Guardian. They are only
I saw some
there for
really
the
interesting
pleasure
shit.
of the eye.
Yeah,
I'm excited.
except for Sloane. Sloane's thing was kind of meh.
Aww,
She
I
just
love
sounds
her.
like she's doing cool shit with cool stuff.
I loved when Zavala was talking about Sloane, and he's like, one woman against the,
Against the darkness.
against the
She's just gonna
darkness.
punch
Black
that
Armory
shit.
believes
She's just
not
gonna
in the
punch it.
Traveler,
It's gonna go
or its
punch.
shambling dead, but in humanity itself.
Yeah, when I was doing the Drifter tapes, the one tape that I mentioned earlier was pretty interesting with the whole, like, this is me talking to the Nine is preparation. Like, okay. And then we get Prophecy, where we talk to the Nine about the
Every
darkness.
piece
Like,
in our
okay.
collection tells a story,
Interesting.
whether it be through its
Drifter's gonna
elegant
be there with
design,
Eris.
its
Even
unique
better.
makeup, or the history
Like,
of its craft.
I'm really hoping that somehow in the, like, background of Destiny, obviously, like, lore, but also, like, in-game, too, to see that they're doing this little connected storyline that, like, has gone on for this long. I don't want to get my hopes up too high, but I'm hoping.
Yeah.
it'll work.
I'm avoiding the feeling of being
Hopes.
cautiously optimistic. Last time I felt that way. Fucking Fallout 76 came out.
The Black
So I'm
Armory
optimistic.
predates
but-
the city of heaven.
I feel your pain. I'm so excited for that. Played it for a day,
Yeah.
was done with it.
Yeah. I'm optimistic. I just hope Bungie has learned their lessons.
I have kept an
And they're
eye on
taking
your
everything into
vanguard
account
from
from
afar, Guardian.
Things like the Taken
I am
King and also
impressed.
the fumbling of the ball of Shadowkeep. Everyone cut them some slack with Shadowkeep because I imagine they went through hell to even try and make it.
It was the
Let alone,
build-up.
like, yeah.
It was the big
They-
reveal that the pyramids were here. And then,
Well, that was also probably the first time they started working alone again. Because I doubt they had Activision's help in it. Because Activision was
No.
at this point like, you're not giving us the money, fuck you.
they might have
Activision
gotten
then
help
got
at the beginning.
divorced when season
but
of
then-
Drifter came out.
Oh, yeah, then never mind.
It happened
was probably
halfway
their
through
folly.
that year. They had Activision through Forsaken and Black Armory, and they got
Spider.
divorced as they were announcing
well do you
Joker's
know
Wild
your
and started
mutual
dropping
friend?
trailers for it.
Not well enough.
And likely that
Sure.
divorce took time, right? So Activision still probably had a hand in Joker's Wild and Season of Opulence. So Shadowkeep was essentially the first thing we got that we knew was going to be purely Bungie.
And also, they talked about how they were seriously burned out as well. because they had
Yeah,
been
'cause the
for
whole season
a
over.
ton.
tells a story, whether
Yeah.
it be through its elegant design,
There
Everyone's
was
kept slack.
its unique
big
makeup,
drops of
or
stuff,
the
while this
history
one's like
of its craft.
little tidbits. I'm excited for the Educate or whatever. I don't know how to say it. The lore piece for Eris
Yeah.
when we finally get that last piece, and I don't know if I want to wait that long and read the rest.
Read
Wait.
the whole thing.
Okay, on my app it says 13 out of 15. Oh, that's the total book too. Never
Yeah,
mind.
because the complete book is a triumph. Yeah.
So read it now and then read the last part later.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep. We'll
I
read
still
that
need to read all
whenever.
my pages.
Oh, get your pages, bro.
You can
Come on,
you can talk to
Bill.
her the whole time, I think, and get all your pieces.
The Black
I know.
Armory believes
Literally
I missed the week and I talked to her.
for its shambling
I
death.
haven't done that mission in about like 4
itself.
weeks.
Speaking of,
Yeah, I have been burned out on this game.
probably Friday night once I'm done with all my classes and stuff. Saturday, depending. I need to do that. I'm not planning on being on tomorrow because I have so many notes to take, and I don't know how long it'll take after I sleep in. But we'll see.
Yeah. There's
Eventually I have to do that.
there's some things in that, like, I want to believe the Traveler's good, right? Traveler's here to help, wants to love us. And then the darkness says things, like from Shadowkeep, I go, oh, it's really convincing. Alright, you're making a good
Admire with
argument.
your
I see your
eyes,
point of view.
not with your hands.
And then, like, all this is happening, and I'm like, I'm listening to Eris make code messages and give me her thoughts, and I'm like, Eris, you're so blindly optimistic, you're making a really good point for me to side with the
Spider.
darkness and not
How
you.
well do you know a mutual friend?
In your blind optimism,
we're
you've
not
actually painted the
unsure.
Traveler as worse than I thought it was. Let me see if I can explain this using religion.
Easily you could. I just
Yeah.
thought about my Christian worldview class as you were talking about that.
It's like, we know that God, loves humans, right? He sacrificed his son for us he wants us to be happy and stuff, whatever,
I
right?
have kept
Yeah.
an eye on your
And then
vanguard
when
from
someone
afar,
dies, they go,
Guardian.
God,
I am
that was God's plan
unimpressed.
for him. I go, what? Like when people are like, God has a plan for all of us, like, whatever. I'm like,
Yeah.
so everyone who gets raped and murdered and like,
As
that
all
was
this
God's
bad
will,
stuff
I'm like,
happened.
Hold on, wait. I was like, I know you you say that as like a optimistic thing, like, hey man, he's got a plan for you. You're gonna get a better job. You're gonna find a good
The
relationship,
Black
whatever it is.
Armory believes
Like,
not
God's
in
got
the
a plan for
Traveler
everyone. I go,
or its shambling
even the people
death,
that
but
die
in
in your
humanity
like, yeah, I
itself.
know you're being positive. You just painted him in a really shitty light. Like,
And to add on to that, where does something like cancer fall on this, kind of scale? Because it's not something we would say is evil, but an all-powerful being should be able to stop cancer, right? Or is he not all-powerful?
right.
This is why I hate that I have to be forced to take my religious
Do
class
not touch our
for
Yeah,
a
wares.
so
requirement
there's the
because
lore
of my
piece.
college.
They are only there
Where
for
Eris
the
is just like
pleasure.
contemplating about the child, like, oh, the Traveler, positive thing, and I went, ugh, like, I don't.
Yeah.
You don't understand. That you made it sound really bad all of a sudden. But it's only because I could cross-reference it with another piece of lore that contradicted. Like, the other lore is fact, and then what Eris is thinking are her thoughts, so they're her opinions, they're what she would perceive it to be. And she's like, I bet this! And I was like, actually no. And I went, oh, wait, it's not? And I was like, wait a minute, like, you just put a whole negative implication in my head on accident. Didn't think about that. I was like, ugh, ugh.
Yeah.
Don't even
It's like,
think
I
about
immediately went,
jumping on the
the Traveler's no better than the
display
pyramids.
cases.
Like, that was the thought I had.
Oh. But that makes sense because they're equals in a way. They play by these rules.
What? No way, it's crazy.
Shut up. Because, like,
Yin and yang.
Yeah, it's yin and yang.
It's got a
Hilarious.
Joker.
It's got a Joker. Yeah. Interesting. I'm excited. I need to read more lore, or like, I need audiobooks or podcasts of just them reading a book.
Every piece
I'm
of
sure you can
information
find
tells a
something.
story.
Can I hire Sharp
Listen.
to read all the lore books in
I'm sure you
episodes?
could.
And it just has to send me to MP3.
Oh man. Ooh. I was gonna say, yeah, I mean, if you want to pay me, I'll record my stuff reading them. I'll fucking read all the goddamn book.
It'd be perfect if you did it, because you'd edit it all nice and
Do not
cute,
touch
pretty,
our
and
wares,
like
darling.
clean.
They are only there for
Here's what I'm
the
thinking.
hour.
If you want Sharp to read it, he can record it, he can read it to you, he can do it, whatever. But, I bet he doesn't have all the lore. And like, let's say you paid him, I don't know, $10 per lore book or some shit, I don't know.
Jesus.
That's
a lot of
I don't
lore.
know.
crazy.
It depends on the fucking lore books. Those things have 25 fucking entries, alright?
That's
That's
true.
a lot of reading.
Yes,
He's gotta record
but-
it, he's gotta edit it, he's gotta put them into files, he's gotta send them to her. That takes like 2 fucking hours
No,
of time.
I'm just saying for Joker, that would get
That's a lot for
expensive real quick,
me,
because
yeah.
there's a lot of lore books.
Well, then she can start getting picky first and go, oh, that makes me more interested about this. Maybe that lore book. Like,
Just keep following a line.
anyways, my point. If it was $10 a lore book, and he's like, oh man, I had that lore book. Hey, can I borrow your lore book? I'm like, yeah, it's $5. I'm just like, yeah, go dream it. Let's split it 50-50.
Black armor
50-50 if he has to
predates
buy a
the
lore book
city
from you.
of Havino.
Thing
He's like-
is,
he's like,
I should ask
I'm
him to
doing
do
all
it
the recording and the
after
hard
Beyond
work. I
Light.
was like, sure. I did all the hard work of grinding it for you. I was like, listen, if you don't want to pay me half your profit, you can go farm Tangled Shore Adventures for 8 fucking hours to get the other fucking 2 lore pieces you need. That's fine.
That's funny.
Like, that's what I would do. Like, Dad, you want Sharp? That makes sense. You got a voice. I know for a fact you have all the fucking lore. Just charge him.
Yeah.
$5
Thing is
for the whole
that-
book, $1 per page if you prefer to do it per page. Like if he's missing 1 or 2 entries, like, nah, dude, just give him $2. That's fine. You get the whole lore book, I'm like,
For
alright,
rates.
I'll max it out at 5. Just give me $5. And here's the fucking 20 entries.
Bargaining between this.
Yeah.
Although, in Beyond Light, when I have all these lore pages, and all these things, even if I didn't earn them, I can read it. Then, I can be more knowledgeable about the game and have interesting lore conversations that you would like to have.
Humanity lured them into a false
You
sense
have
of
some more
security.
now, you don't read it. Anyways.
I know. But I also am missing a lot of lore.
Yeah, like, and also some of it you can't get, because for example, I didn't complete the lore for the Season of
Admire with
Undying,
your eyes.
and Joker can't get the lore based around Fellwinter's Lie, so...
What was the seasonal look for Undying? I don't even remember.
Ah, fuck, I can check. It's under... I think it was Light and Dark? It might just be the Dark. Yeah, probably definitely under the Darkness.
Study time!
Last days on, Kraken Box.
Oh, that's just about Titan, the fall of Titan and stuff.
Yeah, but I didn't complete that one because you had to do, Vex Offensive.
Yeah, it was just essentially like they were forcing an evacuation, and then all the ships got shot out of the fucking sky, basically by Rasputin.
That's where I really learned. I don't know if we should trust this fucker.
Thing is, like I say earlier, I believe yesterday, you were saying that, what are you gonna salvage from Rasputin? I think he's dead. Thing is, though, is that I was doing the, I know the cutscene of him, turning off in front of Adam Durant, but,
I said that kind of as a joke because I knew a small part of it lived.
yeah,
but
he
it's
would
like,
preserve
it's
himself as a
fucking
bad
bad.
guy.
Its
But-
unique
Yeah.
makeup,
What I found
or the
interesting
history
was
of its
that
crafter.
I was doing all the memory fragments or whatever for Worldline. And at one point, you have to go into Rasputin's, like, little, like, triangle thing where he's, like, glowing red, and he was glowing red. And I was like, dope, he's still here.
Yeah, that's kind of weird that for some reason it...
I just think they didn't...
Do
Yeah,
anything
they
with it, which I would
didn't change
expect.
it.
Right.
But still, it's like, hey.
Yeah, because I did that too. It's like, oh, hey, what's up, Big Red? What's up,
Yeah,
dog?
me and Damaging day one went to, like, after seeing that cutscene, went down to go see, is this fucker dead? He wasn't dead.
Yeah.
Dude, what if he stores himself
Yeah.
in his, like, original Warmind pod thing that he showed us?
The Traveler made humanity weak.
I thought that that's what they were
Lured
gonna
them
do
into a false
at
sense
first,
Well, you
but,
guys did evacuation. Did you pay attention to it?
yes.
Reading the flavor text?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, less
for the
than
most part.
8% survived. And I'm just gonna try and salvage him.
Yeah, he's like living in a data pad. Yeah, she's like holding a data pad. She goes, I have what's left of him, the fraction of a percent, and it like the screen glows orange. And she's like, we'll fix you up, buddy. Like, that's it. It's like,
Aw. I'm glad she's living, because I know that Zavala said, like, Anna Bray's coming here with Rasputin, but other than that, nobody else is coming and fighting off the darkness by
they're
themselves.
gonna hold their ground.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, good, I
Dude.
like Anna.
Did you guys, were you paying attention to what Vance is gonna do?
He's gonna try to turn off
Admire with your
the
eyes.
infinite forest or
Not
seal it
with
within
your
himself or something like that.
hands.
Not something with sealing.
Yeah.
He's trying to preserve
He's
whatever he can
he's-
by closing it
He's
off.
gonna go into the infinite forest and shut it
Do
down
not
so no one
touch
can
our
enter or
wares,
leave.
Guardian. They are only there.
So he's just
for
gonna
the
live in an
pleasure of
infinite
the
time
eye.
loop and never die.
One, I mean, that's a possibility. In the infinite forest, anything's possible.
Yeah. So, Brother Vance is going to try and shut off the Infinite Forest. In theory, if he's on our side, he's trying to do it so the darkness can't access it.
Makes
Uh-huh.
sense.
Do you think he's on our
And-
side?
I think he's on the side of Osiris.
He's on the side of Osiris, that's a good point.
Osiris is on our side, in a weird
And I
way.
think we're fine. In a weird way, yeah. So it's like,
Well,
Let
we
me
also
put
know
it this
that
way.
Brother Vance
I
is
had
dead.
no reason to distrust Brother Vance, but the way you were like, well, if we think he's on our side, I'm like, well, why'd you say it like that?
Well,
do you know something I don't?
I think it's mainly from the lore book that you get for doing the trial wins each week, where it kind of talks about how there's like the thing in the lighthouse that rings
Yeah.
out every time a guardian
The tone.
dies.
Yeah.
Yeah, and how it gives him like this odd fucking satisfaction, which is immediately a red flag. And then also he kind of has been acting
Every piece
shady.
in our
Like, oh, he
collection
went to go
tells a
talk to
story.
Mara about some sort of
Whether it
fucking
be through
seed.
its elegant design, its unique makeup,
So,
I think,
or the history of its crafter.
I mean, honestly, first off, as a not guardian who's blind, he gets around pretty easily.
yeah.
First off. Second off, can I read to you guys Vance's final lore in the Duress Egress book?
Sure.
Sure.
Oh, thank God. It's one of the ones I really want to talk about anyways.
It's the Duress and Egress, like book. Yes, it is.
Yes. Yeah. So essentially, there's 3 entries for each person. The first 4 are from the preparation, and then the second 4 are, I guess, like, preparing to evacuate, and then the other 4 are the evacuation, or staying. So this is Vance's final one during the evacuation. It says, after the Guardian left his sanctum for the last time, Brother Vance collected his few
The
belongings
Traveler
and
made
stepped onto the
humanity
scorching surface of Mercury.
lured them into
He
a
found the
false sense
entrance
of
to the
security.
infinite forest easily, as though he had practiced the journey endlessly in his mind, because he had. This time, he went through. The forest roared. He was struck by a dizzying void of it. The echoes made no sense. He took his first step into the hallowed place and fell to his knees vomiting. He struggled with his pack as a tempest beat on his eardrums. He withdrew his infinite simulacrum impossibly small in this immense space, and with trembling fingers, synchronized it to the frequency of the crack in the forest.
Admire
It
with your
ticked
eyes,
like a metronome,
not
and
with
then
your hands.
silence. The forest was sealed. Tentatively, Vance felt his way across the enormous stone he stood on. At the same time, he skipped effortlessly from the stone, as if he had done so countless times before. At the same time, he soared. He was moving in every direction, falling, laughing, singing, down every path into every reality, spreading his message of hope. And the original, the true Vance, felt his infinite parallels erupt from him. He felt them bear him up as they passed. "Thank you," he said wordlessly, unable to breathe from joy, and felt 100,000 touches of reassurance. He found he was weeping. There, in the swirl of his golden echoes, Brother Vance lifted his voice and began his song. "Some hope for?" His own voice answered him from behind. "The future," it continued. Vance leapt
Do not
toward
touch
it.
our wares,
He
guardian.
recognized the feel of his own
They are
cloak,
only there
and his
for
hands
the
found its
pleasure of the
throat.
eye.
Its form twisted, turning cold and sharp beneath his hands. It threw Vance on his back, but he held on. He pushed his hands up the thing's face under its blindfold and dug in with his thumbs. It howled. How unfortunate, Vance thought to himself behind his
I
wide
have kept
smile,
an eye on your
that you
vanguard,
still have
Father
eyes.
Guardian. I am unimpressed.
Since when is Brother Vance a badass?
Yeah.
Okay, so
There are so many things I want to talk about.
same.
What did you want to say, Joker?
First, I don't know why, but during the first area part, like when he first stepped into the Infinite Forest, I don't know why, but I got like speaker vibes for a second. Like, as the mask.
Blade when he vomits?
No, like when he's like spreading his word of hope.
Oh.
Is that what the speaker did
Yeah.
about the traveler and the earth? Like, he spread his word about it. That's interesting to me. But, like, unless there's, like, some proof that he's the speaker, no, just throw that out the window. But then,
No, he's not.
the darkness has imitated us before, so I'm guessing that he dug his thumbs into the darkness reincarnation of himself, which is so cool. It's
Legacy
so
thoughts?
dope.
Admire with
That
your eyes.
was very
not with
cool.
your hands.
That last line is just like, okay,
Chilling.
chill, Brother Vance, chill. I definitely see
So-
why you want us to read these, though.
So there's... Joker, I'm so glad you noticed it. Or picked up on that. Because it says that he felt his own cloak,
Black
and it
armory
twisted and the
predates
form
this city,
changed and
I'll
it turned
have you
cold
know.
and sharp. And immediately I was like, well, that sounds like stasis, right? And we know the darkness takes our forms because he goes under his own blindfold, essentially.
Yeah.
I was like, but the fact that he's like, oh, he sings the song, he hears himself singing, he's like, that's me, and he touches himself, and then it
Every
throws
piece
him
in our
to the
collection tells a
ground.
story, whether it be through
And
its elegant
Vance's first thought
design,
is,
its
find his
unique
face,
makeup,
put my thumb in
or
its
the
eye.
history
Like,
of its craft.
Like,
Yeah.
wait,
like,
is it like
he
the darkness
wasn't
is trying
shocked.
to... Yeah, like he was chilling with it. But,
Like, he knew
Is it
that was going
like-
to happen, and so I'm wondering, like, Asher Mirror's whole thing, I'm going to protect the Pyramidion, I'm going to make sure they don't get inside. I wonder if Vance knew that the darkness was already in the Infinite Force, and he sealed them in.
that...
Oh, that could be interesting.
Ooh. Instead of keeping
Because
them
he's like,
out,
"Oh."
he's keeping them in.
Hello! And then he's, because, like, it throws into
Do
his
not
back,
touch our
and he's just
wares,
immediately
Guardian.
like, fuck you, and
They are
just dug
only
his
there
fucking
for
hands
the
into his
pleasure of
eyes.
the eye.
How unfortunate that you still have eyes. As he
What-
smiled, his wide smile, like, what a fucking crazy person. What a
Right?
badass.
He is a disciple. Let's just
So-
say.
I wonder what's going on with Osiris then. Where the fuck is he?
Probably in the Infinite Forest still. think he would have left.
No, Osiris, the last time we knew of Osiris, he was in a black hole.
Oh, yeah, never mind.
Yeah.
I have
He
kept
got
an
his
eye
own
on
seat
your
of civil
vanguard
wings.
from afar, Guardian.
And we haven't heard
I
from
am
him
unimpressed.
since.
I
No.
took it as he had some sort of deal with the darkness. Gunn took it as he died.
I think because it's super vague. I
Yeah.
said either because it's a black hole that no time passed,
Spider.
so him trying to escape
How well do you
happened
know
in the
our
same
mutual
second that he was
friend?
actually escaped,
Not
and so
very
there's a
much,
weird
I'm
break in the
sure.
story. Or he tried to escape, and the darkness took his shape and got into his ship and is pretending to be him.
That would explain why there was a darkness in the Infinite Forest. Osiris would resume in the Infinite Forest, wouldn't he?
Admire with your eyes.
I don't know. There's literally no information or lore on him since I wanna say last season.
Yeah,
At
it
the
does.
beginning of last season,
The
when
Black
he went into a
Armory
black hole and
believes
came
not
out
in
with
the
a metal
Traveler,
seed,
or
which
its
he now to be a
shambling
seed of
dead,
silver wings.
but in humanity.
But that was 5-6 months ago. I haven't heard anything new from that.
I wonder though,
Nowhere has
because
it
like,
mentioned his current whereabouts.
how could? Because Brother Vance had never been in the Infinite Forest until that moment, right?
Never.
Never. It mentions that. Okay,
The Traveler made
so
humanity
if your theory
lured
would be
them into a
correct
false
about
sense
the
of security.
darkness taking Osiris's shape, keeping him in the black hole, taking his ship and leaving, it would make sense for Osiris to go back in the Infinite Forest because he's so obsessed with it.
Do not touch
Um,
our wares,
I
Guardian.
mean,
That-
not if a ship's already
They
here.
are only there for the pleasure of
So-
the eye.
I mean, if the pyramid ship is here, why would darkness as Osiris come here if it already has a presence here? It would go
Create
somewhere else.
illusions. And then Brother Vance is so dedicated to Osiris that he went into the Infinite Forest and took on his shape, which is like,
The
this
Black
is totally off my
Armory
theory, but
predates this city, I'll have you know.
Osiris was supposedly, like, the Darkness Osiris was in the Infinite Forest. Brother Vance somehow recognized that it was not him, proceeded to take his shape,
The spider.
Brother Vance's
How
shape,
well do you know our
and
mutual
then
friend?
have his eyes
Not well
gouged
enough,
out.
I'm sure.
I don't know, man.
I don't know. Another thing
Good
about Brother Vance is that Brother Vance obviously doesn't have eyes, as he mentioned. Like, what a shame you still have eyes. Was the darkness incorrect on executing, like, its
I have
own
kept an eye on your
imitation?
vanguard from afar,
And it gave him
Guardian.
eyes?
I
I
presume.
am unimpressed.
Yeah.
Because they didn't know? Like, that's... How would they... What if they did Eris's? Or something? Because, like, we don't know. She has acolyte eyes. Like, weird. I don't know, man.
Yeah,
It's just interesting.
it is.
There's a weakness with the darkness.
The other thing,
The Black Armory
It-
believes not in the Traveler,
small, it just
or
upsets
its
me.
shambling dead, but
because
in humanity
in a lot of
itself.
the lore, especially from the Battle at Six Fronts at Twilight Gap, where Osiris split off his reflections and fought the battle, and he can see through 20 eyes or whatever, right? And they describe it in the lore as Osiris can split himself and make reflections because of his light. It's part of his how he
The
uses his
Traveler
light
made humanity
to make multiple versions of
lured
him
them
that he
into a
can
false
control, and
sense
they
of
can be
security.
autonomous all jet.
Uh,
But in the fucking Curse of Osiris campaign, they say that he can create reflections because of Vex tech inside of the Infinite Forest.
so it completely contradicts each other.
They contradict each other, and then there's a point after Vance steals the forest,
The Black
Infinite
Armory
parallels
predates
erupt
this
from
city,
him.
I'll have you know.
like,
Now, the light thing makes sense to me
it's
in some way.
the swirl of his golden echoes. Brother Vance lifted his voice, like, it literally is like, Vance's echoes came out, like, they make it sound like it's tied to the Infinite Forest, except Osiris can do it wherever.
Hang on, wait a minute. I'm wondering if they're trying to differentiate between words. Do they make any Do they use reflection and echo interchangeably? Or is there
They
a
don't say
difference?
reflection. He says he felt his infinite perils erupt. Blah 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 blah. In his swirl of golden echoes.
Don't even think about jumping on the display cases, Hunter.
I
Ada, I
think
don't know what you said to me.
about the light thing with Osiris is that he uses his light to multiply himself or replicate himself and move around the infinite forest. That makes sense to me more than like the Vex Tech stuff for some reason, because of like thinking back
I have
to
kept an
Gaul
eye on your
when he
vanguard from
attains
far,
the light
Guardian.
and his
I am
like angel
unimpressed.
form comes out and it's like similar, like ghastly almost compared to Osiris's reflections. Because they aren't like solid figures, they have like no legs and stuff, like they just float around.
Yeah.
That just, I don't know how that makes sense to me, but that's just what I connect from it. And then Vex Tech.
Yeah. It's just like, sure, it's the light thing. Sure, we'll retroactively change it. It's light, and then it's like Vance, the human's like, I have echoes. You're like, that doesn't make any fucking sense.
Yeah.
How did you don't have light? Shut up, bitch. And it's like, but the traveler said light lives in all places, so technically, fuck you. I don't give a shit.
I'm still a guardian. But,
Interesting.
must sweep. Interesting. Check,
Right.
check.
So on the Battle of Six Fronts,
The Black Armory
Osiris
believes not
wouldn't
in the
have
Traveler
the Vex
or its
Tech
shambling
necessary
dead.
to
Right. That's why they
make
say
his
it's
own
his
echoes.
light.
Yeah.
They say like he fractures his light and splits himself.
Which is what happens when our light is taken away in the cutscene. It's the same thing. It makes sense.
Yeah,
Our own reflection of
It's just-
ourselves walks out of us as our light is taken away. He's just using it like aura and pushing it out himself.
I am just using this as an example of some of the bad writing that has to do with anything
Yeah.
in the Curse of Osiris campaign.
So bad.
They say in the campaign that like they're like they exist because of Vex Tech. They don't really go into it, just kind of say that shit. There's some passive bullshit.
Like, yeah, that makes sense.
That's
Okay,
like, that doesn't
moving
make
on.
any fucking sense. Except now it's like,
Yeah.
I'm big and split myself too. Like, fucking what?
Bungie, you're
I think the
missing lines and
I think
holes.
the only difference would be if we could even create a difference in the difference between, because I guess reflections and echoes are pretty interchangeable, but let's say Osiris's reflections are the light and the echoes are from the Vex Tech or whatever. Alright, bear with me.
Hmm.
At the Battle of Six Fronts, when he used reflections from light, it says he could see through them, like he could like see what they saw and he could do things for them and stuff. Like he was essentially manipulating 10 versions of him or whatever,
Like
right?
a puppet master.
Yeah.
Do not touch our wares, Guardian.
And then the
They are
or
only there
yeah,
for
in
the
the Osiris campaign or in Strike, right? You're like, hey, why don't you clean up? Osiris is like, because I'm working with 3 simulations right now. He's like, I'm handling Vex in 3 separate simulations. Arguably, those are reflections, right? He's doing something in one simulation, he has a reflection in another, and he's manipulating that one, and he has a third reflection in another doing that thing, right? So he's like, I'm fucking with 3 simulations right now. Manually using his light to see and to do things. Echoes, if they're from Vex Tech, that might be the thing where he's like, I have hundreds of thousands of echoes, and I've sent them to just patrol and do things, and if something happens, they come find me. Like when you go into the Infinite
Every
Forest,
piece in our collection tells a
and,
story. Whether it
um,
be through its
you
elegant
run into the echoes, they're
design,
like, oh, you have
its unique
Segura.
makeup,
We must tell
or the
Osiris.
history
Because they
of
aren't
its
Osiris,
crafter.
so the echoes have to go find him and relay that information because he's not tied to them via light.
That makes sense because echoes
I'm just
come back
making
to
that
you.
up. It doesn't make any
I
fucking
know,
sense.
but it would help in some way for the plot hole that like echoes echo back to you. They tell you what they know, like they say what you say, that kind of thing. While the
Which would also
reflections,
explain why Vance has echoes.
yeah. I can't believe you made that up. I believed it as part of the story. I was like, yeah,
That's the
okay,
thing,
that
you
makes
can-
sense. He would be,
That's the thing
Gunn
with
would be a
this.
better writer than the Bungie, like, whole creative team,
The
because you can
Spider.
actually
How well
make
do you know
plot
our
that
mutual
doesn't
friend?
have
'Cause-
holes in it.
Not well enough.
Because unlike the writers, I know everything that's been written. Like,
Here's
I
the
didn't write
one
something and
problem.
forget about it. I just know it all.
Well, here's the one problem that they're running into. They lost a lot of writers with D1. After D1 was released, a lot of people just left, and I'm imagining a lot of writers did too. And I imagine the same thing happened with Destiny 2.
When you hire new writers, and
Give them the
they're
old
like,
notes.
alright, welcome to the writing team. You have homework tonight. You fucking hand them 20 lore books. You gotta fucking read this. So you don't contradict yourself, because I'm not gonna police your goddamn paperwork. I don't want you to come in with a lore book for me to fucking proofread, and the whole thing is based off of how time moves
Black
differently
Armory
than this
predates
other
this
lore
city
book.
a lot.
We can't fucking do that, so you all need to fucking check yourselves.
Gunn, in your opinion, in your
Hello.
observation of the lore, how many plot holes have you encountered so far, most likely? Give or take a number.
How many plot holes have I encountered? I would say most of them are just from Curse of Osiris. 100%.
Okay, my... Wait,
Most of them are from...
my controller just turned off the moment I asked that question. What was your...
I said, I don't have an exact number. I would say most of them probably come from the Curse of Osiris campaign. I'm trying to think. There was a time one that... Not like Infinite Force next time. But like... Someone talked to someone, and it was weird because... I was like, how did that person live so long? Can't remember what it was off the top of my head. Whatever. But
The Traveler made humanity weak.
I think
lured
there's,
them into a false
plot
sense
hole.
of security.
in the sense, the biggest plot hole that fucking just drives me fuck. When you get Sagira in the Curse of Osiris campaign, and you go into the Infinite Forest for the first time, and you're like, we gotta find him, and you fight through the Infinite Forest, and you find the Echoes, they tell you, they show you the future, they're like, this is bad, look, Panoptes, we gotta go. They send
Do
you
not
back, you
touch
come out of the
our
Infinite
wares,
Forest.
Guardian.
And she's like,
They are
Arkora,
only
you just saw some
there for
crazy
pleasure.
shit. She's like,
You were just left.
you just left.
Yeah.
It's like you just set the standard for it. Because that's the first time you're in the Infinite Forest. And they set the standard that when you enter the Infinite Forest, time does not pass in the real world. Or if it does, it's
Very,
extremely
very
fucking slow. So,
Every piece in our collection
I
tells a
don't get
story,
how
whether it
Osiris,
be through its
who has been
elegant
exiled
design,
from the city
its unique
for at
know-how,
least
or the
one
history
decade,
of its
who has
crafter.
thousands of reflections or echoes or whatever, how he cannot have fucking explored every goddamn timeline in 1 month. I don't get it. It doesn't make any damn sense to me.
Can we talk about how, like, relative to that, in a way, I'm guessing you've seen Avengers Endgame, right? Like, you know how Doctor Strange sits down and his head shakes and he goes through all these simulations because he's a wizard. He's like, I
Yes.
ran through this, like, millionth number of simulations
That
and
was
we
an
only
Endgame,
win
by the way.
in one. Oh yeah, it was Infinity.
That was
But
Infinity War.
he was like, we only win in one. But he can't tell anybody. I'm like,
Because that
if
changes
it's
the
true
outcome.
like
That changes the
that,
simulation.
yeah, it changes the simulation. That makes sense, but like, if it's like relative time like that, where it's like he did that in maybe like 3 seconds screen time, and he went through a million simulations, how did he, Osiris, not go through all of them in a month? Like,
I don't get it.
even if it's infinite possibilities, he would still have a lot of them done.
Like even the stupid cliche Like, I thought we
Don't
were
even
lost and the
think
Vex
about
beat
jumping
us.
on the
But I
display
never
case.
saw you.
Hunter.
Guardian, you are the key. I never predicted you. That stupid shit. I'll let it slide. Because the Vex cannot simulate Guardians or the light.
Mm-hmm.
So of course you didn't fucking see us, because we don't goddamn exist in the Infinite Forest. Duh, you dumb old fuck. I don't
I
get
have
it.
kept an eye on your
It doesn't
vanguard
make any
from far,
fucking sense to me.
Guardian. I am unimpressed.
I just.
It also, I think with Season of Dawn, it kind of also threw a bit of a wrench in, because I think most people felt like, oh, Mercury is a simulation-making machine. It's not able to fuck with time nearly as much as something like Vault of Glass did. But then the Sundial came, and I just feel like that threw a bit of a wrench into the mess of Curse of Osiris already was.
Quick question about Saint 14. Where did he die campaign-wise? Because I know his body
Every
was
piece
in
our collection
Vault.
tells a story.
Because we went and
Whether
visited
it be
his
through its
deathbed.
elegant design, its unique
What do you mean
makeup,
vault?
or the history
Vault of Glass.
of its
Sorry, I need to
crafters.
No, it
specify that. I thought it was. Because you go
No,
into...
That'd be a different Titan.
Which
Yeah, that's
one?
a different Titan. That's the Titan that sacrificed himself to become the relic. I can't remember the name off the top of my head.
I thought it was Saint 14, because it looked like the
Traveler made
helmet.
No.
humanity weak,
Nope.
lured them into a false
Saint
Never
14
mind.
has his own tomb in the Infinite Forest.
It's one of the places.
That's one of the. Yeah, it's the
What was the
adventure you
Titan
get
in
after you do
D1?
all of the.
One of the
You
original
can look it up
great
if you
teams.
want.
I'm looking it up right now. I got it.
Okay.
Titan, Deathbed.
It was when you did all of your simulation cubes, your prophecy cubes for Vance. And then you got like the quest line for Mercury, which is how you got Perfect Paradox back in the day. That was when you went and you found Saint 14's body, and they like the Vex had created like a tomb for him and like all that kind of stuff. And, like, that's weird. I guess when you fight Seven so long, you do kind of respect him or whatever.
Yeah.
I think it's
So, no,
on
he
IO.
died in the Infinite Forest.
On IO, you can find a few things to scan, and it talks about how the Vex honor some of their most fearsome foes. Like, for
The
example,
Black
when we
Armory
die,
predates
we will
the
likely,
city
the
of
Vex will likely build some sort of shrine to us because we were such a pain in the ass to deal with. And Saint 14 killed so many Vex, and it took so many millennia to kill him. They decided, we'll leave the corpses in your room. You can have them.
Yeah.
Praetus was the warlock. Pahan was the hunter. I'm guessing it's Kabir, Legionless, who I'm guessing is the Titan because the other two are just marked as warlock and hunter. That makes more sense. Thank you.
Yeah. And then
Do
I
not
don't,
touch
the
our
hunter
wares, Guardian.
made
only
the
there
exotic
for the
machine
pleasure
gun. I don't
of
remember his name. The one that has like an AI in it, because he was always paranoid about
Super good
if he
advice.
does
Yeah,
not.
super good advice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Super
I'm
good
just
advice
reading
because
this all
he
on
was-
Bungie. Or Destiny
He was
lore.
super worried about. He thought if he didn't have someone with him at all times, he would be deleted from time. That the Vex would just make him go poof. So he made an AI or put an AI into a gun, so he was never alone.
As the Guardian moves into the vault, they can hear Praetus speak. He tells of the Vex's fear of the Taken, and how they seem to have faith in capital T, time, and the capital P, pattern. He also speaks of his attempted raid of the vault, and how Kabir was erased. Wow. I wish I bought or read all the Grimoire. I have so much stuff that I should
Every
read,
piece in our
because I
collection
really
tells
am
a story.
interested into this game.
Whether it be
I'm
through
so
its
invested.
elegant design,
I love
its
information
unique
that does not
or the
exist
history of its
through
craft.
gameplay, but completions, and then you read it all. I just never find the time or the effort to do it until we have these deep talks.
The one thing they just need to get better about putting a little bit of it into the gameplay, because, for example, one worry that I've seen about Beyond Light is that all the cool shit that's going on with the darkness is going to happen in the lore books while we deal with Aramis. I'm totally fine with Aramis taking the forefront for the story, but they do have a fair point. The darkness is our priority here, and it's going to be taken to the background probably.
It's all going to be background noise, lore-wise.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are overlooking the fact that we're still owed at least one more cutscene. I say that for two reasons. One, there's been a cutscene to end out each season so
Do
far.
not touch our
since
wares,
Shadowkeep.
Guardian.
Yeah.
They are only
Two.
there for the pleasure of the eye.
They said when they were talking about seasonal content coming and going, back when they were introducing this seasonal model that we're in right now, they said, for example, like if we did the Black Army like this, like Ada 1 would show up, you would do her thing, at the end of the season, there'd be a cutscene where she packs up and leaves or whatever. So, I'm expecting some sort of a cutscene where at least we do our our special interference mission, where maybe we actually go to the pyramid ship and talk to the darkness again, instead of getting interrupted by Savathun and Nokris. I'm expecting some sort of cutscene where we watch the final Guardian ships leave Mercury, Io, Titan, Mars. We have a cutscene where Anna arrives with her data pad at the tower or some shit, right? Like, those are the things I want to see in a cutscene.
Like, it's playing out behind my eyes as you're explaining it. Like, I can see... Because, did you ever see the glitch, or whatever, when you get out the map on Titan, when the pyramids first arrived? Like, you had to be a Titan and use Thunder Crash, and, like, swords, and glitches, and all this stuff. There was, in the back area of Titan, there were just rows and rows of just ships ready to go. Like, just plain white. So, like, basic ships. Did you ever see that?
No.
I want to see that fleet exist. I want to see it all just leave Titan, and then poof. Like,
I have one idea that I doubt they'll do, but also it's not out of the realm of possibility. I imagine when next season rolls around, what's going to happen is we're going to have a mission that we are immediately kicked into, like how Season of Arrival started, where we had to go investigate Io, where we're doing something on Titan, trying to stop the Hive from doing some sort of ritual again. But we realize that the darkness is about to completely destroy the platforms. I don't remember what they call the rigs. Because it fights with gravity and it's caused a massive tsunami. And basically they're going to pull a Halo 3, the ending of Halo 3, trying to run away from death.
Who's gone?
Me. I'm gonna sleep, man.
Yeah, we should.
You know what? That's fair.
Because I said that 50 minutes ago, and then we just...
And then we went on again.
Morning.
Jeez. But yeah, this is a great talk. I love this. I'm gonna clip it for Twitch. I'm gonna send it to Lady so she can't be mad she missed it.
Yeah.
That's
I'm glad I included my audio.
yeah, do that, because she can listen to it while she's at work then.
Yeah. I'll clip it. I'll get on my computer.
Lady, I love you!
She's gonna have so
Every
many questions
piece
for
in our
you.
collection tells a story.
That's fine.
Ah,
She'll
this
be
is
happy she can hear my voice
Or
talk
wait,
for
no.
3 hours.
Lady,
or whatever.
Lady, I have an idea. Go talk to me or Joker. And then go talk to Gunn so you can try and pretend to be smart.
Like, she'll feed her wrong information or something. She
We'll
comes
do
over
our
and go
best.
like, I know shit about Mara Sov. She was a woman and became a man or something stupid. I go, what the fuck?
Hi, Brucey.
Right, anyways, I'm getting off. Clip
Same
it,
here.
Joker. That's really smart. Send it to
I'll
her.
clip it. I'll get
She'll
on my
love it.
computer, end it, and highlight it so it will be on my page forever.
Alright.
Talk to you guys tomorrow, or if I get on, whenever I'm on.
Bye, people.
Bye.
Good night, lady. Hope you enjoyed.